Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Tuesday, and all of our guests today brought to you by Able Auctions. Pardon me, Delaney's. Okay. You said it was brought to you by Able Auctions. You did. I've got witnesses here. You know what? I would have gotten that right, but I had dental surgery yesterday, and I'm a little bit off today.
Yeah, dentals.
Brought to you by. How do I get this wrong? Delaney's OK Tire in Langley.
I love how many people are backing me up too.
Actually, you're getting.
No, you're not. You're getting ripped.
It's pretty.
You're getting ripped. Soft.
No.
By the way, Delaney's in business for over 20 years. OK Tire is Canadian-owned and operated from coast to coast. They're in Langley, Fraser Highway.
I drove by there yesterday.
We'll get more on that later, right? If you don't mind. Tom and Victoria, Delaney's OK Tire in Langley inbox. Thanks so much for bringing back Tyler Meyer's agent, Ian Furness, one of my favorite regulars, and he's got himself a new job. KGR Sports Radio in Seattle. It's Ian Furness. Ian, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Good, gentlemen. Do we have any sponsors from White Rock or North Delta, or is it just Langley and Surrey? What are we about? Do we have a Burnaby sponsor in there, a New West, a North Van? What do we got?
Well, you'd think we'd have a Burnaby or New West sponsor because those are the two places Rick and I are from.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm wondering.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Keep me updated.
Do you still hate Tyler Myers?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I got to behave myself now, I guess. I don't know. He's a great player, good guy, right, Rick? Good guy.
There you go. That's all you have to say.
Good guy.
Okay, so what's happening career-wise? You're still at KGR, but there's something else happening with the. Well,
we're all day-to-day in this business, Donnie. You know that as well as anybody.
You know, it's not about getting a paycheck anymore. It's about survival. That's the world of the media these days. But there's and congratulations, by the way, a new direction in your career.
Yes, they announced it yesterday. I'm the primary studio host for Kraken television broadcast, the new Kraken hockey network. They brought it all in-house. So it's now not on Root Sports anymore. It's free over-the-air television in Seattle. Basically in the Kraken footprint of the NHL, which is Washington, Oregon, I think a chunk of Idaho, part of Montana, Alaska. So, we have free over-the-air broadcast this season. We're doing 70 games on local TV, and I'll be the primary host for at least 55 of those.
Don't burn yourself out. It sounds like you're well, of course, in this business, a job's a job, and you got to take it. But 70 games, good for you. Plus the gig at KJR.
Yeah, I mean, 55, I'll be the host. The other 15, ESPN SportsCenter anchor Linda Cohn's going to do those. But yeah, I'll still be involved in some of the other ones as well. So, yeah, exciting. I'm excited about it. You guys know my passion for the sport, and it's been a road well traveled with myself and the Kraken for sure. But here we are. So I'm excited. And listen, the group that I'm working with is unbelievable. Johnny Forsland's great play-by-play. Eddie Olczek and JT Brown doing color, and Piper and Allison. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be a ton of fun, and hopefully Dan Bilesman brings some excitement back to Climate Pledge Arena and a little boost of energy for this team.
Well, I was just going to ask you, do you get the sense that Dan Bilesman is going to turn things around for the Kraken? I say turn things around. They had a pretty good playoff run a couple of years ago. But what difference do you think he's going to make this time around?
Well, I think honestly, Donnie, the style of play. Hack was just this grind it out. Let's dump it in and try to cycle. They weren't built for that. They're not built for that. They're still not built for that. I think Bilesman will open things up a little bit more. They went out and got Montour and Chandler Stevenson, and hopefully Ben Ayers bounces back this season. The goaltending's fine. I know you guys are worried about your goaltending until it gets healthy. Then you won't be. Then it'll be fine. Down here with Grubauer and Joey Dax are pretty good. They're pretty good in net, and they can prevent people from scoring. It's just, can they put the puck in? And I think Bilesman, just from what the guys said about him in the American Hockey League the last 2 years, a guy that reinvented himself. It's going to be fun. They needed something, and hopefully Dan Bilesman's that guy. There is some talent on this team because they're, like you said, they're not too far removed. 2 years from a playoff run, it's pretty much the same team.
Ian, the Kraken could have come to Penticton. They were asked to go there, but they went. I think they went to Los Angeles for their rookies. Give us a little insight into Shane Wright, 4th overall a couple of years ago. You think this is year he cracks the lineup?
Well, first of all, they didn't want to go out and hang out with you guys up in Penticton. It's just that's a Canadian thing. Let all you Canadians hang out up there for a few days with your young stars or whatever you call it. No, they just to take a step back. It's funny because this is the first time they've been able to really do that.
Yes.
It's now we're year 4 into this organization. They don't have anybody on an ATO. Everybody that was in the rookie camp was their guy. So it's a little bit interesting in that regard. So it's a little bit new and different for them, even than different from other NHL teams. But Shane Wright, I think, I dare say that I think he's your third line center, and take your pick, Beniers and Stevenson 1-2, and then I think Shane he'll probably start out as number 4, but I think he'll be your number 3. They've got to do something, guys, with the salary cap, and I'm the first to admit math not my strong suit. In fact, I had an interview with Ron Francis last week, and he said, "Yeah, math's not your strong suit." Thanks, Tips. I've had that figured out since grade 5. I know that, but I do know this: you're over the cap, so they're going to have to move somebody, Yanni Gord or Brandon Tanev, and along the way, because they're fine until the season starts, obviously, but they're going to have to move somebody. If they move one of those guys, specifically they move Yanni Gord, who I don't think they want to, it would be out of necessity. Then Shane Wright steps up, but he's going to be in the lineup every night. He's going to play, and it's funny because he's only 20 years old, guys, and already it's like, oh, Shane Wright, 4th overall, hasn't done anything, and blah blah blah. Guy, he should have been playing juniors last year. They got a special exemption just for him to play in the American Hockey League. So he's not going to be a 40 goal scorer, but he should always be a pretty good 2-3 in the middle for you.
All right, Seahawks 2-0. You got to love the start, Ian. You got to love the start. I loved Geno Smith on Sunday. 33 completions. I think that's a career high. 5 drops. Can you imagine if he didn't have the 5 drops? I mean, that must have been infuriating for him and Seahawk fans. But your overall views on the Seahawks starting 2-0?
Well, he'll never let you know it's infuriating because he's the ultimate quarterback, teammate, leader type of guy. Even body language wise, he's pretty good with that kind of stuff. So he'll never do that. If you would have said, are they going to have that many drops or he's going to have that many completions, I would have said, I never would have guessed the drops because that's just not who they are. So there's a lot left there. They didn't have Ken Walker. He's just so much better than Zach Charbonnet, the backup running back, and that made a big difference. The NFL is not like college football for us in the States. College football in the States is all about the style points and what do you look like and who'd you beat this week and all those things. NFL is really simple: win or lose. And at the end of the year, they don't do any kind of voting or there's no subjective nature to it. It's just about winning football games. They're 2-0. Now they get a Miami team, guys, without Tua, that has really been kicking it a little bit early on. And that's just – there's a lot of question marks with the Dolphins. The Seahawks offensive line is still just if I'm going to be nice – it's hard for me. If I'm going to be nice, a work in progress. Like that's the best way. That's the best thing I can say about the offensive line because it's a really good defense and a really good set of skill players and the receivers and Walker and Geno. The offensive line is and I hesitate to say that. My kid plays offensive line in college. I don't like to ever. I think that's the easiest position group in all of sports. Doesn't matter what sport it is. It's the easiest thing to do is to take a shot at the offensive line, but they've really struggled.
Yeah.
Hey, Ian, going back a bit here, like Jack Patera, Chuck Knox, for years and years, little Donnie growing up in the Vancouver area, the Seahawks could never win when they traveled back east. The 10 a.m. starts. Under Pete Carroll, that changed completely, and it continued on the weekend in New England. What's made the difference there? Because it was a major flaw for the franchise. I know you're envisioning little Donnie watching Seahawks games in Burnaby, but if you could get away from that for a second, what's made the difference there?
His little Donnie code for something. I don't even know what that is.
Little Donnie
Brian,
running
you have
around.
A dumb button ready? Like, what is little Donnie? Like, you can't say that on the air, guy. You can't say that.
Hey, listen, you watch our show. We say a lot of things we're not supposed to say. Little Donnie's the least of them.
I don't even. Does everybody have a little Donnie? Like, what is a little Donnie? Oh, where were we again?
The Eastern time zone. They're winning when they never used to. Jack Patera, Chuck Knox.
Love that, Ian. You love that.
Mike Holmgren, who wasn't little, he couldn't win back there either. Big Mike, little Donnie and Big Mike, he couldn't win back there. They did change under Pete something a few years ago, and I think it did help. They go back a day early for the games, Central Time Zone back. So 2 hours back, they leave on Friday. Western games, Pacific Time Zone, or even Arizona, which Arizona doesn't even know what they're on time zone wise. They're weird, but they leave on Saturday morning for those. But the other games, they leave on Friday. They get acclimated. They land late on a Friday. They get all day Saturday to kind of get your body right, and then away you go. And as someone who traveled for 15 years, I guess, up until this year with those guys. Like, I do know that one day would make a difference. Like, if you go back on a Friday, we would fly back on like an early Saturday morning, and I mean, you're just wrecked. Your body is wrecked. Now, we're on a commercial flight, but it's not like this is a temple right here anyway. Like, far from it. So, but those guys, they're well-oiled machines, and even on a charter, I think it was hard. So they changed things up. They invested and said, hey, we're going to go back a day early, and I think that's made all the difference in the world. And then, honestly, guys, it depends. Sometimes just who you play. Really, if we're being honest, sometimes that's who you play. If we're playing, a Patriots team with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, you should win that game, and they did. The ones that were impressive, like last year, they went back week 2 to Detroit and played the Lions, who the week before had played Thursday Night Football, the opener, if you remember, against Kansas City, and won in Kansas City. We got in there for a Sunday morning game at 10 a.m. That was the one I thought, okay, it doesn't matter. You can go back on Wednesday. It won't matter. And they found a way to win. So comfort level in stadiums. I mean, they've won the last few times in Detroit. They played there Monday night a couple weeks. But I think just that extra day to get your body acclimated. I mean, listen, I'm known for physical fitness and things like that. So that's my guess. That's my hunch.
Little Donnie says that was a hell of an answer. Little Donnie.
We use that on the show a lot, Ian. A little Ricky, too.
Little Ricky's a whole different – that's a whole different can of worms. Yeah. I'm not going down that. Which one? Little Ricky was from New West, right?
Yeah. New West, Queensboro,
Yeah, I'm a North Burnaby guy.
He's a Burnaby guy.
Burnaby is a little bit, my Uncle Ray lived in Burnaby, so, absolutely, yeah. And then they moved to North Van. They moved then they moved to North Van, I think, at one point. So none of the Hammonds or, the Buckley, none of my, the Schmaltzes, none of my family up there lived in New West. Like, it just couldn't happen. Sorry, Rick. Like,
the Queen City, it's a beautiful Queen's Park. Ernie
Queen's
Punch
Park
McLean. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, let's go gong it up. Like, that's the greatest gong show of all time with those knuckleheads. Boris Fistrick and all the rest of those dipsticks up there. Yeah, let's go.
Ian, we can't thank you enough for the Uncle Ray update.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Hey, here's what we covered today. Little Donnie, Little Ricky, Uncle Ray. What else do we need to do?
Hey, perfect way to end it. Thanks for this, Ian, and in all seriousness, congrats on the new gig.
On the TV gig.
Thanks, guys. I guess I have to talk to you guys more often this year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Always.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Say hi to little Ryan for me.
Okay.